good morning. It's a little windy, so we'll hopefully we can keep everything in place throughout the press conference. A new rule of the road took effect on July 1st. Iowa's Move Over or Slow Down law was enacted in 2002, and now that law also applies to utility maintenance vehicles. That means if you're behind the wheel of your car and you see a vehicle stopped on the side of the road, you do one of two things. Of course, always approach with caution, but if you can legally and safely move over and change lanes to pass, do so. If you can't move over and change lanes, slow down to a safe and responsible, reasonable speed below the speed limit, and be prepared to stop. Drivers are already required to do this for emergency vehicles with flashing lights, like an ambulance or squad cars. The law is now expanded to include utility maintenance vehicles like bucket trucks, garbage trucks, and tow trucks. Utility workers already have a very dangerous, high-risk jobs, so moving over and slowing down protects not only those utility workers, but also you and everyone else on the road. Safety is everyone's responsibility. It requires a commitment from every driver to watch out for each other and make sure that everyone makes it home safely every night. If you do break the law, there are consequences. For starters, you can face a fine. You could potentially lose your driver's license. The state's electric utilities have done a good job in joining forces to help educate Iowans and bring awareness to the new law. It may seem like common sense, but many drivers just don't know to move over or slow down when approaching utility maintenance vehicles. So that's why I wanted to join these electric utilities today and focus on this important safety effort. If you log on to moveoveriowa.com, there's a simple pledge that you can sign. And it reads, "In accordance with Iowa state law, I pledge to move over or slow down when approaching stationary emergency maintenance and utility vehicles with their flashing lights activated." I'm going to now sign the pledge. Is that it? Okay. Anywhere? So I've signed the pledge, and I encourage all Iowans to sign the pledge online. You can also share it with your family and friends on social media to help spread the word about the important safety efforts of moving over and slowing down. They're not just courtesies, they're the law. I also have a proclamation that I would take just a moment to read, and then I will bring the Lieutenant Governor to the podium to say a few words. Whereas the welfare and safety of Iowa's utility employees are of the utmost importance, especially when they work along Iowa's roadways. And whereas in the state of Iowa, drivers should obey the law and move over to slow down when activated. And whereas the utilities of Iowa, including Alliant Energy, the Iowa Association of Electric Cooperatives, the Iowa Association of Municipal Utilities, ITC Midwest, and MidAmerican Energy have all united in a public awareness effort to educate and inform drivers of the move over and slow down law as it pertains to utility vehicles. And whereas the utilities of Iowa encourage drivers to sign an online pledge to obey the slow down move over law at www.moveoveriowa.com, and whereas we are all gathered here today to educate Iowa drivers of the slow down move over law in order to prevent serious injury or death to Iowa utility workers whose jobs are dangerous enough. Now therefore I, Kim Reynolds, Governor of the state of Iowa, do hereby proclaim the week of July 9th through 16th, 2017 as Move Over or Slow Down Awareness Week, and encourage all Iowa drivers to join me in pledging to move over and slow down when approaching stationary emergency maintenance vehicles using flashing lights. Thank you. Lieutenant Governor?
Thank you, Governor, and good morning. Across the country, all 50 states have move-over laws for emergency vehicles, but only 12 states specifically protect utility service vehicles. Iowa's expanded move-over or slow-down law is designed to protect motorists and Iowa's utility workers who are at high risk while performing their duties on Iowa's roadways. As the linemen here in attendance can tell you, working along the side of busy roads is very dangerous. Moving over or slowing down, and preferably both, can go a long way in keeping everyone safe. The proactive public awareness campaign that has been developed by the Electric Utilities of Iowa also draws attention to the issue of distracted driving. When you're behind the wheel, keep your eyes on the road and watch for stopped or slow-moving vehicles with flashing lights activated. Take the pledge at www.moveoveriowa.com and do your part to protect Iowa's utility workers. Their jobs are dangerous enough already. And now I will sign the pledge as well. And now I'd like to introduce John Dvorak, Director of Safety at the Iowa Association of Electric Cooperatives, who would like to make a few remarks. John?
Good morning, everyone. Governor Reynolds, Lieutenant Governor Gregg, thank you for drawing attention to this important safety issue today. Iowa's electric cooperatives serve 80% of the state's landmass, and that includes a vast network of poles and wire along Iowa's roadways. The catalyst for this public awareness effort started last fall during one of our Electric Cooperative Safety Committee meetings. There was discussion about linemen out in the field experiencing close calls with motorists who on the side of the who weren't moving over or slowing down while the linemen were working alongside the road. And even those our crews set up bright orange cones, signs, and our bright yellow trucks, their flashing lights activated, people still didn't give them room on the road to do their work. We looked at a legislative solution to draw attention specifically to utility and maintenance vehicles. At a statewide level, we shared our safety concerns with our fellow electric utility organizations and joined forces to develop a public awareness campaign and aimed at educating Iowa drivers about the need to slow down and move over. Iowa has had a move over law on the books since 2002, but additional legislation was signed into law earlier this year, which further expands the law to apply to maintenance and utility works vehicles. Working with electricity is very dangerous, and the safety of our employees and the people we serve is our top priority. Our goal is to send our employees home safe and sound to their families every day. And with the expanded move over law now in effect, we are asking drivers to help us keep Iowa's roads safe. Please share this message, this safety message with your family and friends, and please pay attention on the road. Thank you.
Jim Doherty with Mid-American Energy. Thank you, Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and John. And particular thanks to the Iowa Legislature for prioritizing the safety of our employees as they work out in the public right-of-way to keep the power on and the gas flowing. Coincidentally, today is National Line Workers Recognition Day. So the time is pretty good. It's a day that we acknowledge every year at Mid-American Energy, and we reflect on the jobs that our employees do to provide reliable, affordable, and safe power and natural gas to our communities. The jobs that they do are inherent with safety risks to begin with. Just the physics of electricity itself. We mitigate those risks by using personal protective equipment such as rubber gloves and techniques such as test and ground. We work at elevated heights quite frequently, linemen do. They mitigate those risks by the utilization of fall protection. And another risk is the safety risk around vehicles, because many of our facilities are located in the public right-of-way, the road right-of-ways, and you'll notice them as you drive around, obviously. We use Department of Transportation, traffic control techniques, but this law is another mitigating tool to assure that our employees can do their job safely out in the public streets and provide the service that you guys have come to expect. One of the statistics that we collect at Mid-American Energy is how many pieces of our equipment get struck by motor vehicles throughout the course of the year. For the first half of 2017, we're already in excess of 500 pieces of equipment. The reason we collect that statistic and then communicate it to our employees is to raise awareness around the phenomenon of distracted driving, whatever the cause of that is. It's a reality for our employees. And so, 500 in 6 months is a lot. And the employees need to be aware of it and take all the appropriate actions they can to protect themselves. We are proud to partner with this effort with the other utilities and the governor's office and the legislature. We believe it's a great step in providing a safe work environment for our employees. I'd like to thank the Mid-American employees that came here today to support this effort, and thanks to all of you.
Morning, my name's Corey Burkle. I work at Alliant Energy in Dubuque, Iowa. I'd first like to thank Governor Reynolds, Lieutenant Governor, the chance to speak today on this important move over law. At work at Alliant Energy, we have a safety culture that encourages you to speak if you see something that's not safe. I also like to thank IBEW Local 204, Alliant Energy, and other electric companies and everyone else for helping make this idea I had after reading a magazine article come to life. There are more distracted drivers out there on the roads today. Even when we put our bright orange cones out and turn on our flashing lights, they don't always see us or change the way they drive. It seems like some people drive even faster as closer they get to us. There are times when I'm near my truck walking between the cones and you can feel the air move around you because somebody's driving that close to you or that fast. I've also told people that I'm more concerned about motorists driving than I am about when I work on the electricity up in the air. That's because we're already trained in what we do, and we know what we're doing when we have 8,000 volts or 7,200 volts, whatever we're doing up in the air. But it's the drivers around us that really give us the distractions. I hope that the law changes. The move over law will help change the way people drive before somebody really seriously in the future gets hurt or injured anymore. Asking people to move over or slow down just makes sense, and it protects the people that work along the roads. People who are out there driving, and hopefully at the end of the day we can all go home to our families. So I'd like to thank everybody again for coming, and hopefully people start moving over. Thank you.
We'd now open it up to any questions on this topic.
When was the last time a line worked?
I know I was reading some stuff last night online, and I believe last year there was 3 lineman fatalities in Kentucky. There was a head-on collision. I'm guessing from the way the article read, one of the cars veered off and struck 3 linemen that were working alongside the road, and all 3 linemen deceased.
So I think that's why, this is a great piece of legislation that really allows us to be proactive and to really help educate Iowans so that they know to move over to help keep our utility workers safe. Any other questions about this topic? Well, first of all, thank you very much, and we look forward to helping spread the word and helping you educate, and thank you for the job that you do each and every day. We're extremely appreciative. Thank you. Want to open up for other questions?
Are you concerned that the state will be able to fulfill its obligation after many state workers are no longer?
Yeah, I have full confidence in our directors of the various agencies. This actually gives them the opportunity to manage their resources and manage their departments. I have full confidence in their ability to do so. Even with the recent layoff at DNR, no services were impacted, and every single day, we should be looking at our agencies and looking for ways that we can provide a more efficient and effective service to Iowans by really being mindful of taxpayer dollars that are funding state government. I want to also, though, take this opportunity to compliment our state workers that do a phenomenal job every single day. They are the face of Iowa government, and they are on the ground delivering the services, and we're very appreciative of the work that they do every year. You know, we have an obligation to balance the budget, and revenues have been down, and so each and every agency has to take a look with the resources that we have to be able to continue to deliver the services. And with the collaboration and technology and really redefining what that looks like, I believe that we'll be able to continue to meet our commitments.
Are the long-term healthcare cost savings from things like the Healthy State initiatives, are those tracked?
We continue to look for, well, like for Medicaid it is, we're tracking that, we have the numbers for that. For Healthy Estate Initiative, I don't know if that's a part of the metric, but I think we all know that the only way that we're going to help control healthcare cost is if we get Iowans healthy, and that means taking ownership of our own health. Last Friday I had the opportunity to walk with Van and Bonnie every Friday, once a month. He hits to the streets and walks, and he's a great example of an Iowan who has taken responsibility of his own health through eating healthy. We want to make the right choice, the easy choice, and by getting out there and exercising. And so we had a lot of Iowans that joined us on the walk, and it was just to help raise awareness, to get out there and enjoy the parks and the activities and all that we have to have available here in Iowa, and to take ownership of your own health. So we're going to continue to drive the message. We were 17th. I think we've gone to 14th. I can look into Nick to verify those, but we still have a long ways to go, and so we're continually looking for ways that we can help Iowans be more healthy.
Governor, thinking of how the GOP controlled Senate and Congress is trying to see if they can push forward on the health care bill this week, just wanted to reiterate the question of where do you stand on your support for the bill?
My support is for them to get something done. That's where I'm at. Obamacare is unaffordable, unworkable, unsustainable. It is collapsing. Iowa is a great example of that. We've seen the health care cost go up, premiums go up 110% over the last 5 years. Because of those high costs, we're seeing healthy Iowans move out of the individual market. We've had our carriers step out. So we're focused on putting together a stopgap proposal. I said all along that is a short-term proposal. We still need Washington, D.C. to put in place a long-term solution, but I'm working every day to make sure that we at least have an option for 72,000 Iowans come January 1 of 2018, so that they have an option to health insurance. That's what I'm focused on, and I want them to just get something done. So whatever that looks like, that they can move the process forward and then go to a conference committee or whatever that looks like, and they're working on it. So there's a lot of different initiatives that they're taking a look at, and things that they're trying to manage, and so I'm hoping that they can get something done.
You mentioned the DNR layoffs. Do you anticipate that there will be a need for more layoffs in state government?
I think they'll be minimal. So I've not had many that have come to our desk. I think the message that we want to really portray, Rod, is that services have not been impacted so far. That's what each one of our directors are really doing the best job that they can to manage a very tight budget. In their defense, they've had a status quo budget for the last 6 years, and with that have been able to maintain cost and increase in healthcare costs, which are escalating, as well as salary increases. So they've done a really good job in the past 6 years of managing the resources that they have, and so I have confidence that they'll be able to minimize those layoffs while still providing great services to Iowans.
Where do you think things stand in terms of a shortfall, and have you talked to lawmakers about the possibility down the road of a special session?
Yeah, we communicate often with legislative leaders, and then they communicate with their members, and so they're fully aware that if it's $50 million or under, that I have the authority to transfer from the Economic Emergency Fund. If it's anything over that, we'll have to call a special session. So we continue to monitor that and work with the legislature on what that looks like.
Are there concerns about the Supreme Court ruling on the vaccine case and allowing it to proceed, concerns about costs at all?
I have no comment on that as long as it's in litigation.
Governor, Kirsten Anderson's suit starts today. Do you have confidence that the workers inside that building know how to treat others and understand sexual harassment, all those kind of things? I mean, you were a state senator not that long ago. Is there a different culture now? Was that culture there? Did you ever see any of this?
I didn't experience when I served in the state senate. I'm one that likes to be at the table. I like to be working on the problem and part of the solution, and so that's always been the mindset that I've brought to the table, whether it's at local government, in the legislature, executive branch. It's kind of hard to keep me off and away from the table because that's where I like to be. So I didn't experience that when I worked in the state senate, and we just need to treat everybody with respect and dignity, make sure that we're bringing everybody to the table when we're working on solutions to serve Iowans. And so my hope is that I believe that is what's being done and will continue to be done.
Senators were treated one way and staff another.
Kay, I wasn't in the Senate when these allegations were made. I was the lieutenant governor. That was not my experience when I served in the Senate. There were only 18 of us, so we were a pretty close-knit group. We had to find different ways to work across the aisle and to work with the majority party for me to be able to, represent my constituents and look for opportunities to serve them. So that wasn't my experience, and I wasn't in, so I don't want to comment on that because I wasn't there.
The Chinese are coming to buy beans Thursday. Any other details as to what they'll be doing here in the morning?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have that yet, but we can take a look at, and I can have Kayla Lyons reach out to you and possibly get you some more information on that. I'm excited about our trade mission. It's not that far away. We leave on July 18th. It's the first all-Iowa agriculture trade mission. We'll be heading to China. We've got a great delegation and great opportunities, I think, to continue to look for opportunities to not only maintain our existing markets, but look for opportunities to expand. We think there's great potential. Iowa Premium Beef just got the authority to export Iowa beef to China, so that's an exciting opportunity and growth market, and we're looking forward to really providing additional opportunities where we can expand market share for our farmers here in Iowa. And we know that's essential if we want to continue to grow the economy. Commodity prices are under input cost, and we're looking for every opportunity we can to help drive value, to bring value add to our existing prices, ethanol, biodiesel. So there's a lot of opportunities for us to grow those markets.
Senator, one more follow-up question on the health care. You mentioned that you really are looking for long-term solutions from Congress. Can you be more specific? Is there any, what would you say
They're still working. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So. No, I think when they're negotiating, Barbara, and they're looking to find consensus, and they're working with a wide range of senators that represent different constituencies, then they're working very hard to find that balance. And that's what you need to do when you have a wide range of senators. Not only, and we're looking for opportunities for bipartisan support. So there's opportunity for Democratic senators to also be a part of this health care solution. And we welcome them coming to the table and looking for areas that they can find some consensus on. So it takes work. It takes compromise, it takes communication, and that's what they're working on. And it's not easy. So I just commend them for looking for opportunities to move forward, to find that consensus, to improve, because what we have right now is not working. And Iowa is just one example. We have states all over the nation that are experiencing exactly what has happened in Iowa. So, it's imperative that we get something done so that we can really make sure that insurance is affordable, that they have a choice, that it's patient-centered, and that we can start to and work towards getting Iowans healthy in the meantime. Well, that's his call, so I'm not going to micromanage. I think we need to be careful with what we're sending. It's my understanding, though, that they're following the same process that anybody would follow in order to get that information. So information that's not available to John Q. Public is not available to Washington, D.C. And it's my understanding that that's the same procedure that the Secretary of State is following, and I commend him for that.